Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. This is my watch list for Monday, March 23rd. All right, so what is happening right now? Well, the market actually gapped down, and then about 20 minutes ago, Trump came out and said that the United States and Iran are having productive discussions over the past 2 days, and he decided to pause military strikes against Iranian energy infrastructure. All right, so there may be some progression in war talks. There may be, possibility that this is all coming to an end. And so now the market, and just from that news, this one candle, the market ripped. Okay, so where does that take us today? Okay, so what did we do first? We reclaimed that previous level, right? Remember the 655? We traded off of this last week. 655, I mentioned it was a bounce on Thursday, and then it was a breakdown level on Friday. And now we are back above 655. So 655 is my pivot for the session. Are we above 655? Bullish. Are we below 655? Then we could still continue selling. All right. So far, this is looking like a bullish candle, but there is 30 minutes left and this 1 hour candle. So let's see how it closes. Let's see how we open today. There's a lot riding on the open and this entire session. This is crazy volatility. We were just at 640, now we're at 660. This is a $20 intraday, pre-market move on SPY. Okay, now where is our supply above? You guys remember the 662, right? 661, 662. This whole zone from back here, March 9th and Friday the 13th. This level is our supply. We have 662. And then above that, you can actually already see where it rejected pre-market, 666. That was our second level of supply. So 662 supply, 666 supply. Do we start breaking above these levels, then this can turn into a massive squeeze day. I mean, SPY is already up 2%, but remember, a lot of people are short. A lot of people are short this market. So if we start taking out these levels of supply, there's no telling where we could potentially go today. We could go all the way to 674 if the market actually squeezes and holds these levels of supply, right? But that's my watch. Do we hold 655? I'm looking for longs. 662, if we start reclaiming these levels, I'll be looking for longs potentially on individuals or maybe even SPY, right? But so far, this is a very strong strong move with a positive news catalyst, all right? That's SPY. Those are my levels on SPY. Now let's take a look at QQQ. So QQQ, same thing. Friday I talked about. If we break 587, it's going to 580. It went to 580, right? Now we are back above 587. So that's my pivot on today's session. If the Qs hold this 587, which you guys remember, I circled this last week, right? We hold 587, I think we see upside today. It's a bullish move, right? If we break back below 587, market can actually sell off, all right? So it's not, there's no guarantee to one side or the other right now. And then as far as supply goes, right, let's look at these highs from Thursday. Let's look at this pre-market high. It's 596, right? We break 596, then we can go back into 600, right? So that's what I'll be watching on the Qs. You can see it's already rejecting there. And the pre-market, we break 596, we go back to 600 and maybe even higher if market turns into a squeeze, okay? It's already up 2%. I'm sure a lot of people went short on Friday and held short over the weekend, and now these people may have to cover their positions, right? And when they cover their shorts, that causes a squeeze, okay? So we'll see what happens today, but those are my levels on SPY and QQQ I'll be watching, right? Let's look at some individuals. So Apple, I like this 255. 255 was a reject level, right, from back here last week, Tuesday. This was a reject. It was the failure of the previous lows. I like actually a reclaim now of 255. If we get the reclaim of 255, first push, we get to 257. So that's a $2 move. If we break 257, I think we go to 260, okay? 260 and potentially even higher to 262, okay? So that's what I'll be watching on Apple. It depends. Is this a pop and fade move, or does this turn into an actual squeeze and market rips today, all right? So 255 breaks, we go to 257. If 257 breaks, we go to 260, okay? AMD, okay? AMD was another one we were watching last week. Super strong on Thursday. Friday, it turned into a bit of a reject. But now I'm looking for, do we reclaim these levels, right? Do we reclaim that reject from Friday? Do we reclaim the break high of day from Thursday? Do we break 206? This goes into 210. And like I mentioned last week, if we actually break, we can go all the way to 216. So that's a $10 potential move on AMD if this breaks and holds 206. Okay. Amazon, I'm not watching anything on Amazon. If you were to take Amazon, you know, it's the 207. It's the 207 that we took as a breakdown. You know, so this is now going to be your bullish pivot. Since it's back above that, it reclaimed, right? So now you can use 207 as a base. If it holds 207, it's bullish. If we lose and start failing back below 207, back below 206, which was that low from Thursday, this can turn into a sell side move, right? The open is going to be important today. Meta, another one I'm watching, the 610 level, right? 610 was our low from last Friday. I had mentioned this, right? I said, if Meta breaks 610, it's going to 600. It broke 610, it went to 600, and it went all the way down to 584 at pre-market, which was the second level I said. If you guys remember from last week, I said, we break 610, it's going to 600. If we break 600, it's going to test these lows down here at 584, right? 584, 585. And that's exactly what happened, right? But now again, with this news, with this volatility candle, positive bullish catalyst, right? Meta is now reclaiming those levels. So it already reclaimed 600. Now if it reclaims 610, we can get an actual squeeze back into the 620s or maybe even 630s, which are these highs from back here Monday, Tuesday, right? 610 is the level to watch on Meta today. I'm not watching anything on Netflix. I was watching this range last week. I don't see anything there today. NVDA, I am watching, right? So NVDA, remember, the breakdown level is 180. 180, 180. It retested 180 and failed and turned into a short play. I talked about this level last week. Now if we reclaim 180, we're going back into 182 initially. We break 182, 184, and 186, right? 186 would be the final target if market starts squeezing today, okay? Palantir, we love Palantir, right? We caught a nasty trade on this last week. I'm still watching the same level, right? Is it still a bull flag on the daily? It is, right? It's just kind of tight. It's in between the range, but this is still a bull flag. What do we need to confirm the bull flag and start ripping? We need to break above this reject from Friday, this reject from Wednesday, this reject from Tuesday. It's this 156.50, that whole zone right there. If we take that out, it's going to go to 160 easy, right? And then if we break 160, which I think we will, if we break 156, then we can get that squeeze volume, we can get the momentum and push this into the mid 160s, somewhere up here, 165, 160. Yeah, it'll be in back in discovering mode at that point. If we break this flag, it could go retest some of these prior supplies back here, 165, 166, all right? So this is on my watch. I love Palantir. We'll see what happens, all right? So that is my watch list for Monday, March 23rd. Let's see if anything's changed. Nothing has changed. Everything's still looking good. If these levels break pre-market, we can still take them. We'll just have to take the retest, all right? So let's see what happens off the open. This is going to be a crazy week. Lots of volatility. Good luck. Make sure you guys are sizing appropriately for your account size. And I'll see you all shortly. Thanks for joining and have a great Monday.